What is up, good people? Jungle Link here, hope you're doing well. Bitcoin crosses 45,000, up about 2% on the day. You go through the top 100 coins, we see ADA up 5%, a few others up 4 or 5%. I saw a couple there, in double-digit growth. So we see a little bit of movement here, not a lot. Ripple published their quarterly reports. I want to make this clear. Look, this is kind of the future of this industry where main players in an ecosystem will have to do so. They say the following: Ripple publishes quarterly XRP market reports to voluntarily provide transparency and regular updates. They're the ones getting sued, and they're probably the model of the future. We're not going to break down the whole report, but this part's interesting where they talk about Ripple notched a critical victory in its hard-fought litigation with the SEC, with the court holding that XRP in and of itself is not a security under federal law. That's the important part. Everyone's starting to get concerned. We're going to go to appeals, all this kind of jazz. An appeals court is not likely to overturn the primary issue of this case, that XRP is not a security. And even if they did in some nightmare scenario, it's not going to happen before the end of this bull run. That's going to take time. Unlike the last bull run, time is on our side. We are going to have a proper bull run. Write that down in blood. Ripple goes on to further say the court also held that a majority of Ripple sales and distributions of XRP did not constitute investment contracts and were therefore lawful. But they do say while Ripple celebrates its important victory, the company also acknowledges that the court found that certain historical XRP sales that Ripple made to sophisticated entities, institutional sales, were investment contracts and should have been registered. Now this is the interesting part. And remember this, the SEC, they're digging into Ripple's current activities and their financials. They say even prior to the court's July ruling, Ripple had changed the way that it sold XRP. And going forward, we will ensure that Ripple sales conform to the legal standards articulated by the court. Ripple will continue to raise the bar of compliance, ethics, transparency, and invest in the resources necessary to ensure compliance with the law as it continues to evolve in this space. So, are we going to find some ticking time bomb? Did Ripple think, well, we're going to get by this court ruling and they went back to their old ways of selling XRP? Not likely. That's what they're telling us here. They are already set up to comply with the judge's ruling, and even before that ruling, they already made corrections and changes. We're going to be fine. This is all about going forward. Can we comply under the law and still have a viable business? Ripple's telling us, no problem. It's already a done deal. And I saw the following associated article here. It's titled Ripple versus SEC Outcome. Ben Armstrong predicts 10 million settlement. I didn't see the corresponding interview here, but I can tell you this. I'm hoping for a dominating victory and a very low settlement. I highly doubt this is going to be $10 million. Like, just the lunch bill for Ripple's attorneys is probably more than that throughout this court case. There were quite a bit of unregistered securities. How many of those took place overseas? Hopefully the lion's share of it, and hopefully the SEC can't somehow pull those into U.S. jurisdiction. I'm sure they will try, as they try to get maximum fines and penalties. If this ends up being a $10 million settlement, I think Gary Gensler will get fired on the spot. I highly doubt it's that low. But I am hoping that John Deaton's correct. I think he said, it might be less than their legal fees. There's going to be some fines to be paid here, but it's more about the forward-looking stuff. And the most important issue, XRP itself is not a security. That's what we care about as investors. And, of course, Ripple is the biggest holder in the world of XRP, the one that uses it at the center of everything they do in their business. It's an important issue for them as well. And it's the one issue the SEC won't admit to, but they wanted to and needed to win. Big settlement dollars ain't going to help them in their Coinbase or their Kraken or their Binance cases. They really needed to notch a win here, and they failed miserably. Now, this was interesting, and we are seeing a big pivot by Ripple. And the title of this article is DeFi Compliance to be Top Industry Trend in 2024, says Ripple President. Of course, we're talking about Monica Long. Ripple President Monica Long predicts a shift from speculative hype cycles to new crypto era marked by on-chain compliance. We're talking about DeFi here, not payments. Interesting. Long said, previous hype cycles fueled by initial coin offerings and NFTs will be replaced by real-world utility at scale. I tell you this as an investor, be careful. We've been calling for the end of the hype cycle forever. There's certain cryptocurrencies I hold pretty much in perpetuity, but don't be scared to pull some profits off the table. While we may start seeing more sustainable growth over the long term, any markets are going to have boom and bust cycles for sure, and crypto is still likely to be extreme because in the grand scheme of things, yeah, we're not turn on your computer and mine up $100 million worth of Bitcoin early, but we're still darn early, and I expect a lot of volatility as we go forward. You see life-changing money on the table? Take some off. Flee to safety. It's okay. But this is really the part that I care about. I'm not looking for financial advice from Monica Long. The biggest breakthrough in 2024 will be pioneering compliance for decentralized finance. Again, she's talking about the biggest development for this year. What Ripple's focused on, well, it's compliant DeFi. Again, not conquering payments, all this stuff. Now, I'm not alluding to the fact that Ripple's somehow given up on payments or that payments won't still be their number one objective, but they have a broader outlook. And that is going to be a big battle there. We see right now the SEC agrees. They're shifting to trying to seize control now of AMMs and decentralized exchanges and things of this nature. I love seeing this. I've been saying for a long time, the XRP ledger, its greatest asset is likely that decentralized exchange and the ability to put all sorts of assets on there. And all of these features and capabilities are native to the chain. David Schwartz has told us that's going to give us a long-term competitive advantage. This isn't a system that's been stacked on top. This is native to the chain. It's built in, and it probably will lead to high scalability and efficiencies. I've been seeing some rumblings about this. This article says ex-Ripple director says big news coming for XRP soon. A former Ripple director, Sean McBride, tweeted the following: big news coming for Ripple and XRP in the next couple days. And I can tell you this, I don't know what this is about. I've seen some YouTubers and some Twitter people alluding to this for a couple weeks, and now we have an ex-Ripple director telling us something's on the horizon. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sorry, I just don't have any information on that, or I would tell you what it was. Well, maybe I would tell you what it was, depending on, who gave me the info. If I had to speculate here, it's not going to be some sort of settlement. I don't think we would see, all these people knowing about that. Maybe like an exchange partnering of some sort, something to that nature is what I'm guessing. We'll wait and see. We'll see here shortly if Mr. McBride is correct. BlackRock and Fidelity. Bitcoin ETFs already ahead of GBTC in two liquidity metrics. Those fees for Grayscale are still so high, they're crushing. Everyone is fleeing that investment. And even though Grayscale still has the most assets under management, I don't think it's going to be for long. And I'll tell you this, if Grayscale brought those fees down, who would you trust with your money? What would be the better product? Would you put it with BlackRock, with Fidelity, or Grayscale, aka the digital currency group, with problems everywhere? Like, if I had to put my money with one of these, it'd either be BlackRock or Fidelity. It ain't going to be Grayscale. And then when you factor in there, Grayscale has these high fees, there's absolutely no reason to use them. So again, BlackRock, Fidelity, highly successful launch, billions under management, and one of those two is going to take this market over and really own most of the volume. Who wins ultimately? I don't know. Obviously, BlackRock's a giant, but Fidelity has been in the crypto game for quite some time. Don't write them off yet. We saw today the S&P 500 breach 5,000. Now, it ended the day a little below, but still, this is the first time in history, all-time highs. The article I have here said, it's not unusual for valuations to climb and equities to stay expensive for some time before returning to moderate levels. Question is, where do we go from here? We are setting new historical highs in the stock market. Does it feel like that type of environment to you? I don't know. We'll see where we go from here. But I'll tell you this. I love cryptocurrencies for this reason. What's some of the biggest problems of today? Well, it's really a global, financial crisis in many ways. Just out of control debt. They ain't going to be able to fix this. In crypto, it's really a hedge against irresponsible monetary policy and geopolitical risk, two of the biggest risks you have out there, which makes crypto assets highly desirable. And then further, to get past a lot of these problems we have, there's two big technologies, I think, that are going to boost efficiency and also redesign the future, and that's going to be blockchain technology and AI. It's going to take time. We're not going to rewire the world here, but there's a lot of work to be done and a lot that's going to be reimagined, and those will be two pillars that prop up the society of the future. We are in the perfect wheelhouse for building big-time value. The NBA is being sued by investors over its ties to failed crypto exchange Voyager. And this really hurts growth. Companies don't want to get involved in a space where, a few months down the road, now you're getting sued for big money. The National Basketball Association is being sued for its promotion of the defunct crypto exchange Voyager Digital Holding. Investors allege losses of $4.2 billion. The suit claims the NBA was grossly negligent for approving a marketing deal between Voyager and the Dallas Mavericks. So, if you're a good crypto company here in the near future, eventually we'll get by this, and you want to partner with someone, a lot of people are like, we don't want to be involved because we don't want to be personally responsible for billions of dollars in investor losses. People are going to start coming after us like, we'll pass. It's okay. You don't have enough advertising dollars to make that risk worth it. Regulations are going to help a lot in this area. They have clear laws, and we're working towards that reality. But in the interim, the nonsense that happened last bull run, your Voyagers, your Celsiuses, of course your FTXs and many others, Three Arrows Capital, it's still going to plague us for a while, unfortunately. Now, we have some Republican senators that are going after the SEC for deeply troubling conduct in crypto cases. And I'm glad someone else is finally noticing. Several Republican senators slammed the SEC on Wednesday over its deeply troubling conduct in the recent DebtBox case. And what a nightmare that was. The SEC made materially false and misleading representation that undermined the integrity of the proceedings. And this was the deal. The attorney is stating, well, we didn't know. I made that statement. I thought it was true at the time. But what we do know is when that attorney found out they made a false statement in court, they didn't correct the record. They tried to sweep it under the rug. They thought it would just, go on by. Listen to this. The SEC acknowledged in December that one of its attorneys made a statement at the July hearing that, unbeknownst to him at the time, was inaccurate, and that its attorney, this is the part that really irritates me, failed to correct that statement when they learned of the inaccuracy. I have a hard time accepting that you didn't know, because it's just as bad. You found out and you still didn't correct the record. And to me, if you or I did that in court against the SEC, you know what kind of trouble we would be in if we tried to say, well, when we said it, we didn't know any better. Maybe that's true, probably not. But you did find out the truth and you didn't correct it. They're going to go after you with everything you would lose, and you deserve to. The SEC needs to get nailed here in a big way. What an embarrassment. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Inc.